And we're back with more NBA observations. It's Gerald coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break and NBA observations. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you like what you hear, you like what you see, go ahead and make sure you're a part of what we're doing by being a part of the Lakers Fast Break, because the NBA observations is going to be a great part going forward of what we're doing here. Unless we get really big and then I have to split it off, because they always want you YouTube. Why don't you do another channel, Gerald? Why don't you do? Well, let me get my first channel big first before I already do the Pop Culture Cosmos and this channel. I got a lot of channels already. I'm good, thank you. But again, NBA observation is going to be here for at least a little while on the Lakers Fast Break. But you won't be noticing that unless you become a subscriber and go ahead and make sure you get the notifications on when we go ahead with a latest NBA observations. And one of the regular NBA observers that we have, he is a great part of the post games that we do. I think he just stays around sometimes when I see him in the middle of a Joe rant, and he just, says to himself, I could just see him. I could just see, picture what's going on in his mind in regards to those times when Joe's just going off on a 20-minute rant and just, we're just sitting there. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. There goes my YouTube career. It is, of course, the guy for a great career with the YouTube, a great guy with a great channel on YouTube. It is I Got Next Sports Media. It is my good friend, Legend. Great to have you here. I was talking with Stefan Piscano. I'm not your friend. I said, let me finish my intro. And I will call you my friend, Stefan Piscano. He didn't let me do that until the end. It's like, oh, okay. It is my good friend, Legend. Legend, great to have you here, my friend, talking the NBA basketball with me once again.
Hey, happy to be here, Gerald. Ready to talk some good hoops.
Absolutely. With the playoffs around the corner and the season coming down to the end, I did want to go ahead and talk about, especially because of the fact that you always keep an eye with your observations on the Eastern Conference, because you live not only on the East Coast, but also you follow the Atlanta Hawks and what they're doing. Tough loss tonight for them. As we're recording this, they close loss to Cleveland. I think that pretty much, well, actually, that they didn't have a chance to go ahead and move into fourth, but they are still battling it out for fifth place in the Eastern Conference right now. Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, even ninth could still have a possible switch as far as everything is concerned. How are you seeing at this point in time? Because right now, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Orlando, Toronto, Atlanta, they all, it's a free-for-all, my friend. It's a bloody mess right now, what's going on with the mid-tier level of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, right now, it's a battle. It's like a real battle right now between 5 all the way down to 9 and 10 right now. Everyone duking it out, trying to get that right placement, that right opponent, and pretty much trying to find somebody that you may got a chance to upset in the playoffs. And right now, the Hawks are in a position to either be 6 or 5, or it could be even worse. But they can at least handle their business in the last, I think, 2 games left of the season. They got a chance to at least be 5 or 6. Personally, stay in the top. That's what I want. I think a lot of us Hawk fans will be happy with 5 or 6. Drop down to 9 or 10, to me, that disappoint me at that point. Because now you're doing the same thing you've been doing the last couple of years. And you played well enough to be a top 6 team right now. So the Hawks need to finish between 5 and 6. And see, can they pull an upset on Cleveland? I know they lost to Cleveland tonight, but at least tonight showed us in that close game that they're capable of beating Cleveland. They're capable. And to me, what gives us a really good chance against Cleveland, because playoff James Harden will probably show up and do what he best at. Come out here and start choking. And we're gonna look, it's all on Donovan Mitchell at that point. And that's what something that we can hang our hat on while playing against James Harden choke like he usually do. Unless he don't shake the demons. But it's an all-out battle right now. It's a very all-out battle, and you're gonna see what happens. But the one team I really will say that could really really cause an upset, Charlotte Hornets could do it because they've really been playing a lot of good basketball.
They have, but I think they're starting to meet their limitations because they had some tough losses in Boston. Was I believe their last loss as far as is concerned, unless they're playing tonight, and I don't believe that they did. From what I see, I will say this when it comes to Charlotte, I really like what they have in the future. We went over this before as far as what they have going for them for their future, and I think their future is extremely bright. But for a team for the now in that mix, while Toronto, I think, after their good start, which I think everybody thought they were playing a little bit above their heads, has managed to keep them right where they're at, where they were early in the season, around 9, 10 games above 500. Guess where they're at? 9, 10 games above 500. Orlando, yeah, they're battling in the mix, but I still think people will still consider this a
It's a disappointment for
failure.
them.
Yeah, exactly. That the fact that they are even in this spot and not up in the area of the 50 plus win mark as the other top four teams are. But it's Philadelphia that kind of gives me, I don't know what kind of vibes I'm reading. I have been wrong on them way before. I picked them, I think, a year ago, heading into that season when they had first gotten Paul George. And I thought that was the magic elixir. I really think they're going to go a long way. I put them, I think, as my East Finals team last year, and not even close on that one. This year, you have Tyrese Maxey. You have playing at elite level. You have Joel Embiid, not Joel Embiid of old, but the Joel Embiid of, okay, he can still do some things on the offensive side of the ball. In fact, he can still get you 25 on the offensive side of the ball with no problem. Then you have Paul George being not a $50+ million steady influence, even though it is $50 million steady influence on that. But you have a nice eclectic mix making out the rest of the roster. They're all getting healthy at the same time. Where do you see them heading into the playoffs?
What seed are they placed at right now? I forgot.
Right now, as we speak, they are in eighth place, but again, they are a game and a half out from Atlanta. So they can still theoretically take over fourth place if everything went right for them and everything went wrong for Atlanta.
So right now they could either be playing either Detroit or Boston at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, I'm probably gonna say they're gonna be a first round exit. If you get either one of them, like they stay with it where they are and play whoever the 7th seed is right now. I forgot all about what the standing was. Actually passed by the Hawks and all. But if they play either one of those two teams, I think that's gonna be a first round exit. Just because the fact is it's gonna be hard beating either one of them. But if you have to pick which one to play against, I'm gonna be honest with you, Gerald. I would avoid Boston at all possible. Boston, that's probably a guarantee you're going home in about 5 or 6. But if you get Detroit, though, who is an inexperienced team, even though they have been in the playoff before, but it's a lot different than when you're playing against another team that's a little more experienced too. You might have a shot. Same thing what some people probably say about the Spurs, but I think the Spurs is more talented enough to overcome it. Detroit, very talented too, but it's just hard to say though. The inexperience might show. But that might be their best shot, though. Their best shot might be going against Detroit and hoping that maybe inexperience might show up on them. But if their talent overwhelms the inexperience, then they're probably going to go home in the first round. And just to mention too about Orlando, their coach will probably be fired by the end of the season. That's what I'm thinking will probably going to happen.
I think Jamal Mosley is on borrowed time. And I think that's pretty sad because some of us thought that he was actually going to be a coach of the year as far as is concerned. And yeah, but I remember back to what was reported on by a lot of our crew, our panelists and whatnot, the people who took time to make these season evaluations. And he was well thought of. Orlando was well thought of. And it's just a shame to see how it went so wrong. They're just trying to salvage the season at this point, but it does not look great for a team that spent so many assets in the offseason.
You're right about that. And I kind of think it's kind of funny when you think about how the preseason ESPN list for East and West was out when you first saw it. And I think they had Orlando as top 5. Just amazing how they just didn't do that well. And makes it even funnier. I think they had the Warriors at 1 or 2 in the West, and look what they sitting at. So, man, ESPN picks was it was way off on a lot of stuff, way off.
Yeah, they were. And again, seeing how well OKC was obviously an easy pick for them to be at the top, but to not have, Orlando and Golden State in that mix. I know Orlando was a lot of people's picks to be a sexy pick to possibly even steal the East because they thought it would be a free for all, and actually turned out to not be that exciting
It
because
turned out
Detroit
not to
was
be.
so. Yeah, because Detroit, even despite the Cade Cunningham injury, still was able to walk away with the East. But I agree with you. There, Boston looks like the team that has the most athletes, the most quality, the most depth, the most star power going into the postseason for anyone in the East. But is there a team in your mind heading into the postseason that you think might have a chance to really upset that apple cart?
If I had to pick a team to possibly do an upset, it would be I'm gonna go with, of course, my Hawks. Cause I think my Hawks are really showing they can pull an upset. I'll go with Cleveland to be doing that as well. And then my very last team will probably have to be I'm gonna go with the 76ers. Those will probably be my three that can possibly pull an upset in one of their series. I know it's kind of odd to say Cleveland because they're like number 4 right now, but I think a lot of people just not picking them come out the East, but it could happen. And the thing I will say that anything can happen is look how Indiana got to the finals last year. I don't think nobody saw Indiana being in the finals. I think most people were thinking Boston or New York last year, and neither one made it. And who would have thought Indiana would be the one representing the East in the finals? So those would be like my 3 teams that could sit here and shock the world and got to the finals if it ain't Boston or Detroit representing.
Once again, it's Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. It is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate you doing so. So, with that, it is that free for all, like I said, between fifth place, excuse me, and ninth place in the Eastern Conference. Again, none of these teams truly excite me outside of again, if Joel Embiid and Philadelphia can somehow finally put things together for a run in the postseason, they could get by a Detroit or a Cleveland and all that. But I don't think that Boston is going to be able to be a team that they would overcome, and I would have my doubts with that with New York. But again, it seems like this top 4 in the East has been settled for quite some time,
Yeah.
and they've just been positioning themselves going forward for the postseason. And in doing so, with Cleveland, again, a team that had a very disappointing start, had in the month of February, I think February, early March, they really started to put things together, but then kind of just halted once they went as far up as they could go. Where do you see a team like Cleveland as far as being a functional, healthy unit that can or is supposed to make some really great strides in the postseason?
Well, right now, it looking like they are gonna at least get past the first round. I'm gonna pull up the East standing real quick, but it looking like they're gonna probably get past the first round as they should, but anything can happen. So as of right now, they'll be playing my Hawks. If they were to come to that, they should beat us, but hopefully we upset them and they be going home. But if not, they should get out that round and end up playing between Detroit and whoever they end up being in the AC spot. They should at least go to the second round. That right now looks like it should be the bar for Cleveland, but anything can happen. The inexperience could kick in for Detroit and they fall apart, and then Cleveland end up being in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals against either Knicks or Boston. So that can go either way, honestly. That can definitely go either way. But as of right now, I think Cleveland's ceiling is going to be the second round, unless something happens to Detroit, or Detroit get knocked out and he end up playing Philadelphia or somebody. And then it really opened up that they'll probably get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think their ceiling is for sure second round, but depending on what happened with Detroit in round 1, that'll determine how far they can get.
what about Detroit themselves? We seem to be always overlooking Detroit, and obviously they took a big step beyond the first round. What they did against New York, they took a big step this season, and as a team that looks like if they get Cade Cunningham back, they can be they're a deep team. But the problem is they are reliant on one individual to get a lot done for them. And they've been able to, in his absence, be able to play very well as a unit together. So when he comes back and is, which should be very soon, according to what most reports have, Cade Cunningham, what happens then with Cade Cunningham? Because as far as him coming back, leading the team once again, how does that look like in the playoffs? What does that look like in the playoffs?
Um, it looked like they can go possibly far. Same thing you can say about the Spurs, or what you would probably say about Detroit Pistons. How much experience can you muster? They did make the playoff last year, but they lost, but they did make the playoff. While the Spurs didn't make none, so they do have some type of experience versus the Spurs. But you just wonder though how well would they handle the pressure as you go deeper and deeper into the rounds. But if they can play to their potential like they have done most of the season, I can see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I can see them going against Boston for that spot in the NBA Finals. I think Detroit's ceiling would be Eastern Conference Finals, and they will most likely lose to Boston in 6. Because I think if it goes to the game 7, I think Boston will definitely win it. I think that game 7 pressure is going to be a lot for that young team. I think Cade will show up, but I don't know about the rest of them. That's the only thing I'm worried about when it comes to them. But I have no doubt that Cade will show up. He will step to the occasion. But I think that's going to be their limit. That's going to be their ceiling. But if they would have knocked out Boston, that would be a humongous achievement for them. No matter what happened in the NBA Finals at that point, they done good already at that point. Even though to me, if they get to the finals, if I'm Oklahoma, I feel really good right now that we got them. I'd rather have them versus Boston.
I agree with you on that. But I did want to ask your thoughts on this from what we were talking about at the top or even the middle of the Eastern Conference. You have to start looking down and as far as the lower ranked teams in the league. And Milwaukee is in a
Yeah.
hard spot because they're the best of these worst teams right now with in the East with 31 wins. Chicago's managed to totally blow away their season,
Yeah,
fired
they
their
can
front
hear
office.
about it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're 30. Brooklyn, Indiana, Washington have 20, 18, and 17 respectively. So they're all trying actively to lose over course of this
Washington
weekend.
wasn't need to
So
fire everybody too.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So with your thoughts on Milwaukee again, the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation has not gotten much better. It's going to the league to determine if they are holding him out or if he just really can't play. But this situation looks ugly. This situation looks like it cannot be repaired.
Yeah, I think this relationship between Giannis and the Bucks is pretty much over. I think it has reached its limit, and this is my thing, Gerald. This thing should have been ended in the trade deadline. I blame both of them for it getting to this point, because neither one of you had the guts to do what needed to happen. Be like, look, it's time to end this. Neither one of them couldn't do it. Giannis don't want to look like the bad guy, and look like the franchise don't want to look like the bad guy either. But they both should have ended this back at the trade deadline, made it happen. You should have sent them to the Warriors. We tried to help y'all. We tried to help you, but you didn't want to do it. Well, now we can't offer you nothing because we don't gave up everything already. But now they're gonna have to probably look in the offseason and make the move. They need to go their separate ways. This does not need to drag into next season. Milwaukee needs to begin the rebuilding process. It's about time. Plus, like I said, Stephen A said it on First Take yesterday, him and Jay Williams. Giannis really want to go to New York. That's where he really want to go to. He doesn't really want to go anywhere else. It's pretty much New York. And that kind of matches something that Giannis said about wanting to be closer to Greece. And I think New York is a lot closer in airplane wise. So that probably makes sense why he wants to go there. But they need to go their separate ways this summer. This needs to end. So if I'm Milwaukee, just do the right thing. As soon as the season over, pick up your phone and take the phone calls. And don't be BSing around. Going to end it. do both y'all a favor so you can move on and fully start going into the next chapter for both of them, for both sides. Because to me, it ain't fair for the Milwaukee Bucks fans to have to sit here through this, through basically like a husband and wife who know they need to get divorced, but you both refuse to make the first step to do what needs to be done. So they one don't need to be man enough to just go on to end it. Let's move on.
He is the marriage counselor deluxe of the NBA. It is legend from iContact Sports Media. Great to have you here once again, my friend. Always great to hear your insight on the NBA. Look forward to him not only on what he's got going on at I Got Next Sports Media, but also our post games as well. So again, the East. Uh, Let me your final thoughts on the East, because the next time we speak on an NBA observations, it'll be postseason or getting to that postseason part of it. As far as I'm concerned, well, the playing games probably will have already started if as far as concerned. So there was so much talk going into the season about how the East was so far behind the West, about the Leastern Conference, or anything
Yeah.
you want to say, with the lizards in there and all that going on. As far as NBA fans perceiving that there's such a talent gap between the top of the West and the top of the East. After it's all said and done, what do you think? After all, seeing what you've seen, knowing what you know, do you think that there's a huge enough gap, like what we thought and what we believed heading into the season, and B, do you think an Eastern Conference team can actually win the championship this year?
Honestly, Gerald, I think this is the first year where I'm almost like I think the East and West were almost a little more balanced to me. Because the last couple of years, you saw the East had a lot of maybe about 6, 7, and 8 teams. Like 3 of them teams that was either 6, 7, or 8 spot for the playoff. They had losing records, but still in the playoff. This year, you didn't really have that problem. It was more balanced, and that's one of the biggest things I noticed. I actually think if you look toward the bottom half, I'm gonna double check to make sure this is right what I'm thinking. But if you look toward the bottom half, I actually believe the East may have did a little better than the West, almost. But it might be about identical. But no, it looks like about identical from me looking at the standings right now. I think everything was a lot more even this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the East won the championship. But to me, for the Eastern Conference to win the championship, it has to be Boston. I just don't think Detroit can beat Oklahoma in the NBA Finals. Now, if it be the Spurs in Detroit, then I take my hands off of that one. I don't know what's going to happen. That can go either way. But if OKC get to the finals versus Detroit, yeah, I'm gonna put my money on Oklahoma to win. They didn't probably about 6. But if Boston get there, I think that final can go either way. I can see Boston winning that final. They could. I probably still pick Oklahoma, but I can see them pulling it out though. I think they almost about tap for tap at that point.
Well, I can't say I disagree with you, because Boston obviously is getting healthy at the right time, and Tatum is playing better and better at the right time for Boston heading into the postseason. I guess I can't argue with that. But as always, Legend, it's great to have you here. Before we go ahead with our final story of the day, which is kind of amusing, I thought I'd run it by you. Wanted to go ahead and make sure you gave everyone a pub, as far as a plug out there, exactly what's going on, to get some pub on what's going on with I Got Next Sports Media.
Well, we are getting ready for the WNBA draft to come, so we're gonna be probably discussing the WNBA draft. May even do a live stream of it. Still trying to determine that part. Want to see what my Atlanta Dream will do, and then of course this is the month of the NFL draft, so I'm gonna definitely be watching that draft. Let's see what my sorry Falcons are gonna do. See if they're gonna continue to embarrass themselves like they did the last few seasons, and then we'll also see if some players from my university, Georgia Southern University, see how many players from my school can be drafted. I'm gonna definitely check that out, and also get to see what is the number 1 pick in the NFL. What is he finna do, Mister Indiana himself? Let's see what he's gonna do in the NFL.
We'll see. And at the introductory press conference for Kirk Cousins with the Raiders, said, "Well, it should be whoever's the best quarterback." I was like, "Oh, okay, what's already starting already?" All right.
Yep,
You know
already
why you're
started.
there. You know why you're there, Kirk Cousins. Don't sit here and tell us otherwise why you're there, because you're there to be a backup, to mentor Christian
Yep.
Mendoza. It's just that simple. But okay, whatever. You keep telling yourself that. All right, whatever.
They got to help
Uh,
yourself sleep at night.
exactly, indeed. But before we head on out, my friend, a little amusing story because you and I love to talk about the tanking teams at times. We like to talk about how, they try to manipulate the systems to go ahead and try to get a higher, spot on the food chain when it comes to the lottery and whatnot. And I know that the latest proposal gaining steam by the NBA is what 18 teams
Yeah,
now. That's
18 team.
yeah, something like that with the first 10 teams getting flat odds and whatnot. So now there'll be a fight between 10th and 11th as far as that's concerned. Oh boy, can't wait for that next year. But with that, my friend, there is the now where, it's the under the old system and teams have been trying to find creative ways to go ahead and tank, for lack of a better term. And obviously the league is trying to curb it, not doing a great job in doing so. But there was a play with your Golden State Warriors last night as it was closing down to the point of game at the end of the game, and Seth Curry was intentionally fouled by Sacramento. Only one caveat here, my friend. Sacramento was leading when they intentionally fouled Seth Curry.
Oh man.
I think they
What
were up by 3 or something like that. I don't know the whole 9 yards of it as far as it's concerned, but the
man, they're not
fact
even trying to
is,
hide it no more now.
no, they're not trying to hide it at all. But the problem is, with that, not only was the fact that Sacramento is denying that, they are throwing Coach Doug Christie under they're not just throwing him under the bus. They're getting him on one of those carts that you get at Home Depot, the long beds, with
Mhm.
they're putting him on there and they're just pushing him out there, letting him roll right out into traffic where there's a bus, semi tractor trailer, semi,
Boy,
van, 20 cars. He is being sent out to dry and dry cleaning because the fact is they said that I'm going to make sure I got the right quote on this. As far as that's concerned, with the Sacramento Kings deny their late foul of Seth Curry on Tuesday night was an intentional tank tactic. Team sources say it was just a simple strategic error in a game they nearly beat the Warriors. Again, they were leading at the time they intentionally fouled one of the best
yeah,
shooters of this last half century in Seth Curry. Just
yeah.
like his brother, extremely good at the line. And if
I
you've been
mean,
around the league, you know this. So
I,
what the
I,
heck
I never
happened?
played in the NBA, but I'm not gonna foul nobody when I'm up by 3. I'm not fouling. I have no reason to. So just gonna be honest. Be honest, King. Just say I'm trying to get that number 1 overall pick. That's what I'm doing. Take it or leave it, NBA. That's all you gotta say. Just be honest. We all know what's going on.
Oh yeah, and they intentionally fouled Seth Curry while leading the Warriors with over 3 minutes left. So get that again. Let me put that in perspective. So I want to make sure it's clear. They intentionally fouled Seth Curry while leading the Warriors with 3 minutes left. I'm actually looking at it right now on the highlights. And yes, 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. They were intentionally fouling Seth Curry. That is just absolutely nuts because they know he was a great shooter at the free throw line. That's why they did it.
Yeah, they saw Steph Curry as the guaranteed ticket, the lottery pick number 1. We guaranteed make them free throws for us.
Was it Seth or was it Steph? That's the thing. That's the thing. Hold on. Yeah, Seth Curry. It was Seth Curry, but it looked like Steph on there. Yeah, it looks like Steph on there. I don't know why they said Seth Curry. That's Steph that they're fouling right now intentionally.
Oh, they knew
But
exactly what they were
oh
doing.
no, Seth was on the opposite side. That's what Steph had the ball. Oh, that was cool because hopefully I'm gonna catch that game because I want to see the brothers play with each other. Um, Seth was on the opposite side and they fouled him without the ball. So if they foul him without the ball, that obviously means you're going to get 2 free throws plus the ball. So there you go.
Oh man, if I'm out on silver, I'll actually be laughing at this. Like, you guys can't hide this at least a little bit better. Like, come on, man.
So that's crazy. With over 3 minutes left, yeah, Steph had the ball. Seth is on the opposite side of the court, and they intentionally fouled him. Man, that's pretty obvious. That's just
Yes, I'm gonna tell them. See, you guys are the reason why the lottery situation will all change after this year. You guys are the reason why.
that's just crazy. But yeah, I think I'm going to catch that game just so I could see the Curry brothers play because on the same team, I don't because of their injuries. They haven't done much of that at all this season, like I think you were hoping to, my friend.
Yeah, they've been hurt a lot, so we haven't had a chance to really see that their brotherhood love on the court. But I guess this has been one interesting NBA. You know, you got father and son on the court together, and you got brothers on the court together. So
For the same team, you're right, absolutely neat. But again, Seth
uncle and nephew Nets.
exactly. So that's just crazy. Because again, the name is Curry. You're automatic at the free throw line. That's just absolutely insane. And they're trying to, and the fact that they throw Doug Christie under the bus in doing so just tells me he's gone. He is gone at the end of the season, man.
Yeah, they pretty much just said do us one solid before we fire you.
Yeah, they're just saying that, man. They just basically said he was an idiot, is what they said he was, and that just wow. Okay. All right. That's when you know it's your time to go. Even if I don't care if you're gonna fire me, but you just called me out. You you know I was tanking. You're not going to tell them I was tanking because you don't want the $1 million pink slip from the league. So you're just going to go ahead and just leave me out to dry like that. Okay, I get the picture. I get the picture indeed. But legend, all that aside, all that tanking aside, it's great to have you here, my friend. As always, looking forward to what we'll be able to go ahead and talk about over the next few days, final days of the regular season. We'll obviously have an NBA playoff preview or thoughts from you on that as well, coming up as well on that. And I know I will be hopping on your channel for doing such a playoff preview as well. But any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
I'll just say the NBA season really flew by pretty quick. I feel like it was just yesterday. Season was starting out and it's already over. So this will definitely be one interesting season to play out. And then I'll end it with this. Luka, don't rush back, man. Take your time, bro. That's all I say. Take your time. I get it, Luka. You want to get back to help your squad, but next season is way more important than whatever happened with this one. Take your time, man. It ain't worth doing any damage here. So whatever happened, it is what it is. Worry about next year.
Okay, so the response from one of the Sacramento Kings supporters says, you have to see the game to know that Christie ordered the foul so as not to waste time outside when it expires with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. After that, they diagram and sink a three-pointer. The team is bad, but they're trying to win to the annoyance of the fans at this point. Okay. All right. Well,
whatever he said, just say you tanking.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, because I saw Steph with the ball. I'm like, okay. But then in the very corner of the screen, everybody's pointing at Seth. And it's like, that's why it's an intentional foul, because it's off the ball. There you go. There you go. I think that's actually pretty smart. That was pretty sly, because he's going to hit the free throws and you get the ball. They get the ball back. So, yeah,
They knew, that's a quick. They'll take the lead pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a tanking 101. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was smart.
Take note, Wizards. Take note, indeed. But again, it is legend. I got Next Sports Media along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. We'll be back for your entertainment pleasure Thursday night after the game against Legends Golden State Warriors, and then also as well Friday back to back. I know that Joe Legend and John Costa will be there Friday for you. I don't know how long I'll be there for you guys on Friday because I do have to go ahead and jet out. So Friday, they'll be covering the post game for the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. So looking forward to that indeed. And Sunday, going to give away one of these bad boys right here. One of these bad boys from Drip Show. My man, Drip
Somebody
Show
over
at
there.
Drip Show Shop right there. There you go, Ledge. You are a subscriber. You live in the continental United States. It's going to be a randomizer type thing. So you could be the winner of this skateboard.
Hey, if I would have win it, I'm gonna skateboard right on into my classroom with it.
Gotta add some wheels though. You gotta add some wheels. He doesn't send it with the wheels. So.
Oh, don't worry. I can go next though and get that. Oh yeah, I'll be all right.
You will be the envy of your entire class indeed. It is, of course, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. We'll be back, of course, on Thursday night with the post game for the Lakers and Warriors. Hopefully, you will be there as well. Make sure you like and subscribe, and also tell everybody that we cover the NBA like no one else because we also, on this Lakers Fast Break channel, provide the very best in NBA observations.